Welcome to this explainer, guys. Okay, today we are bringing absolute peak energy to a topic that honestly every single one of us has to face at some point, and that's hitting rock bottom. We're talking about those brutal moments when you're just completely surrounded by the absolute worst hurdles life can possibly throw at you. We're going to unpack the mindset required not just to survive that kind of devastation, because survival isn't enough, but to completely transform yourself right in the middle of it. So look, this isn't about gentle encouragement or sugarcoating things. This is a very urgent tactical breakdown of how to literally forge your purpose when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. If you're going through hell, keep going. I mean, it sounds incredibly simple, right? Almost like cliche tough love, but it acknowledges exactly where you might be sitting right now. The source material we're looking at today absolutely does not sugarcoat the pain. It acknowledges the tears, the massive struggles, and that intense, overwhelming urge to just quit. An urge that every winner, every soldier, and every king has felt. You know, you might be in it right now, and that pain, it's very real. But, and this is absolutely crucial, the response to that pain is exactly what separates the average person from the truly great. So I want you to let this sink in for a second. Why on earth would you stop in hell? Just think about the logic here. If your current circumstances are miserable, chaotic, and painful, stopping and giving up simply traps you in that exact misery. It's literally like setting up camp in the middle of a burning building. No way, right? The only logical, actionable move when you're surrounded by fire is to keep moving forward until you find the exit. The suffering isn't there to just make you miserable forever. Actually, it's an attempt to wake you up so you can push through to the other side. Section 1. The Awakening. A vision that overwhelms fear. Okay, let's dive into this. A standard run-of-the-mill goal simply won't cut it. You need a dream so massive, so terrifyingly big, that it actually short-circuits your innate human fear of failure. We're talking about the kind of vision that keeps you staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. when you're desperately sleepy. It demands, no, it forces you to wake up and put in the extra effort when your body is screaming at you to stay in bed. The source material emphasizes that on the way to your goal, everyone, and I mean everyone, has to decide whether to keep going forward or turn back. And well, the average person turns back. Your vision has got to be so huge that turning back simply isn't an option your brain will even process. Section 2, The Descent. Embracing the inevitable storm. Now, what's really interesting here is the number 1,000. That is a massive, daunting number. And unfortunately, that's the sheer volume of rejection you need to be prepared for. Greatness takes time, guys. Building your brand, your career, your entire life, it all takes immense patience. You have to be ready to get 1,000 no's just to get that one single yes. If you don't have the mental resiliency to weather 1,000 rejections while others are quitting and, family members are gently suggesting you might be foolish, you're just never going to reach your destination. And here is a fundamental law from our source material. If you do what is easy, your life will be hard. It's incredibly easy to just sit back, complain about your circumstances, surrender your dreams, and let yourself become bitter. Literally anybody can do that. But if you choose to do what is hard, picking yourself up, brushing yourself off, and really leaning into the pain, you build the exact toughness required to maneuver through the devastation. Surviving that storm is what ultimately buys your true freedom. Section 3. The Isolation. Entering the dark room. So, you have to unplug entirely. I'm talking no cell phones, no notifications, no distractions whatsoever. It's so tempting to just, binge watch a show when things get tough, but you actually have to retreat into a dark, quiet place in your mind instead. We live in a society that's deeply terrified of silence, where people constantly surround themselves with noise just to avoid their own thoughts. But you must spend real, completely uninterrupted time alone with yourself to figure out who you actually are. It's only after you sit in that profound silence that you can emerge with absolute purpose, passion, and a crystal clear goal. You see, most people don't quit because their bodies fail. They quit because their minds hit a trapdoor. They lack the mental tools, those internal frameworks of discipline and resiliency required to push through to the other side right when they want to give up the most. And these crucial tools, they're only forged when you isolate yourself, stare at yourself in the mirror, and do the really heavy psychological lifting in that dark room. Section 4. The Ascent. Eliminate tomorrow and execute. Tomorrow is not a viable option. It's the easiest, most comforting lie we tell ourselves, right? But you have to reprogram your brain to reject it entirely. Tomorrow simply doesn't work. You do it today. Waiting for the quote-unquote right time is a massive trap, because guess what? There is no right time. Our source stresses that if you leave everything for tomorrow, you carry exactly zero progress into the future. You have to execute today, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant that step might be.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive divide between intentional living and accidental living. If you just accept your life and drift around aimlessly, you're essentially wasting your hours on things utterly unworthy of your time. After all, nobody ever went uphill by accident. Think about it. You've never read a biography about an accidental achievement. You have to be deliberate. You've got to make firm decisions and intentionally captain your ship, or you're just going to float out with the tide.
Now, here is where true accountability really kicks in. Look at this. Only 10% of life is what actually happens to you. That's the unpredictable trauma, the setbacks, the sudden devastation. And you have absolutely no control over that tiny fraction. But a massive 90% is entirely dictated by what you do next. The devastation is going to come for sure, but you cannot allow it to become a permanent roadblock. Your reaction, your strategy, and your discipline, that is what makes up the vast majority of your life's outcomes. To tackle that 90%, you must prioritize discipline over motivation. Mainly because, let's face it, motivation is incredibly fleeting. Hungry people execute because they know they must, regardless of how they feel in the moment. And they operate entirely without a plan B, because every single ounce of energy spent on a backup plan is energy stolen directly from plan A. You have to embrace failing forward, using every mistake as a stepping stone. Do it alone. Do it completely broke. Do it exhausted. Do it terrified. No matter what the condition is, you just do it. Section 5. The Triumph. Reinvent your entire life. 50% of winning is just showing up for the fight. It's true. You will never, ever win a battle that you hide from. Stepping out of the shadows, looking fear dead in the eye and declaring, "Here I am, ready for duty, let the chips fall where they may," instantly wins half the war right there. And as you step into that fight, I want you to embody this famous Dylan Thomas quote referenced in our source material. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage against the dying of the light. This is about vehemently refusing to settle for mediocrity. It's about violently rejecting an average life where your potential just, quietly fades away. You have to fight for your vision with every single breath you have. But that sheer rage against mediocrity isn't quite enough on its own. It has to be paired with composure. That rage absolutely must be balanced by extreme composure, which is perfectly captured in this really powerful excerpt from Rudyard Kipling's poem, "If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs, yours is the earth and everything that's in it." When the chaos hits, when you get those 1,000 no's, when everyone else panics and throws in the towel, if you can simply hold on when there is nothing left inside you except the raw will that says, hold on, you win. That mental resiliency is the absolute ultimate key to owning your universe. So let me ask you, do you want to walk around all day knowing that you could, but you didn't? Think about the crushing weight of that regret. Knowing you had absolute greatness within you. Knowing you could have asked the universe for exactly what you wanted, but you chose to be comfortable instead. Listen, your life is not a true reflection of your potential yet. You have the power to completely reinvent yourself, and that starts right now. So make a choice, stop waiting for tomorrow, and step right into the storm. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I challenge you to start executing today.